No, like I said, man, that's a big dude. You know what I mean? He ain't even at 168. You know, when you look
Right, not now. It's at 175, yeah.
he probably can't even make 168 no more. But when you look at these fights, you know, especially
I want to, earn my spots everywhere I go, even at 175. But, I see that weight class, I want to become champion at 175, and
that's a tough fight. I don't know if Bud can overcome that. That's different. That's a lot. That's a lot to overcome. Height, reach, the speed of Benavidez coming downhill, the stamina, because this a guy that does get stronger as the fight goes also. So some of the advantages he had over Canelo, he wouldn't have at Benavidez. I think it would be a question if Benavidez can make the weight.
But yeah, I mean, if the fight comes up, the opportunity comes up, I would love that fight.
So you're saying 160 versus Crawford, you do?
Right after defeating Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford didn't hesitate to respond when asked about a potential clash with David Benavidez during an interview with Stephen A. Smith, sharply questioning whether Benavidez could even make the 168-pound super middleweight limit and casting doubt on how realistic the matchup truly is, comments that instantly ignited debate across boxing circles and social media.
If you were at 168, when we think about anybody at 168 outside of Canelo, the first name that comes to anybody's mind is David Benavidez. What about the potential for a fight like that?
No, like I said, man, that's a big dude. You know what I mean? He ain't even at 168. You know, when you look
right, not now. It's at 175, yeah.
He probably can't even make 168 no more. But when you look at these fights, you know, especially coming up, you gotta be realistic. You gotta, say, all right, how big is this dude really is? Because David Benavidez, he can fight his ass off. And I told him that a long time. I told him that when, before I fought his brother. I said, man, dude, you can fight, dude. You're going to do big things.
Terence Crawford's comment intensified the debate about his next move, with MMA stars Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman weighing in, both arguing that David Benavidez can make the 168-pound limit and that a showdown with Crawford would settle the real champion discussion once and for all, emphasizing that fans simply want the best to face the best without excuses.
Hear me out here, Kamaru. Terence Crawford versus the Mexican monster, David Benavidez.
I knew it was coming.
He was the mandatory for Canelo.
Oh my God. Relax.
What's up? The scariest guy in the division.
He's not in the division.
He said he could still make 168 pounds. Dude. The reason why he wasn't because nobody wants to fight him.
That's a big dude. And to be honest, Terence Crawford's 37 years old.
It's about merit. Could I get to the generational talent, as he said, with Manny Pacquiao? He's an 8-division world champ.
If it ain't no big...
Which do you think means
all
the most?
And all of it. It all goes hand in hand.
Can you describe what it all means to you to have? You just made like a whole resume of stuff tonight.
It means a lot to me because, anybody can be a nobody. Like I said, and that's all they say I've been fighting is nobodies. So what can they say now? Somebody tell me, what can you say now?
You can say congratulations.
As the debate raged on, Terence Crawford used his post-fight press conference to remind critics how often he'd been doubted and labeled an underdog before dismantling Canelo Alvarez, confidently asking what more could possibly be said against him, framing the moment as proof that the landscape had shifted firmly in his favor.
The top people ranked at the WBC are fighting each other, so I mean it should be an easy call. If I can't get those fights, then I'll go up to fight Bivol, or I'll go try to I set my conquest on 175. Like I said, I don't want no handouts either. I want to, earn my spots everywhere I go, even at 175. But, I see that weight class, I want to become champion at 175, and that's exactly what
David Benavidez didn't stay quiet either, pushing back at Terence Crawford's comment by arguing the issue isn't whether he can make 168, but that they compete in different divisions. Viewing himself as a natural 175-pounder, Benavidez suggested Crawford's remarks were more noise than substance, possibly a way to sidestep a risky matchup rather than a serious critique of his ability.
He hasn't been at 60. There's no big names at 60. 68, maybe the Benavidez fight. That's a tough fight for Bud. I ain't gonna lie. That's a tough fight. Benavidez ain't no joke. Yeah, that's a tough fight. I don't know if Bud can overcome that. That's different. That's a lot. That's a lot to overcome. Height, reach, the speed of Benavidez coming downhill, the stamina, because this a guy that does get stronger as the fight goes also. So some of the advantages he had over Canelo, he wouldn't have at Benavidez. I think it will be a question if Benavidez can make the weight. I know he's been there 75.
Despite his response, some observers questioned whether David Benavidez might be steering away from a potential clash with Terence Crawford, especially as reports suggested he was focusing on possible fights with bigger names like Dmitry Bivol. That sparked debate over whether he's avoiding the matchup or simply pursuing opponents that better align with his long-term career goals.
David's too big for Terence Crawford. I think Terence Crawford will be like 38 years old, you know? I mean, it will not be the same as Canelo, man. We know David comes in and throws a lot of punches and put the pressure. And no disrespect to Terence Crawford, he's the best pound for pound. He's in the books to do history. He did something that nobody could do. But at the end of the day, we're talking about the Mexican monster, you know? David's young, strong, super big for Terence Crawford. And, you know, even Terence Crawford said that Kavalakis or whatever.
Meanwhile, talks about a potential showdown between Terence Crawford and David Benavidez kept building momentum, with coach Brian Bomac McIntyre and other insiders suggesting there is real interest behind the scenes, reportedly including involvement from Turki Alalshik, fueling speculation that major backing could turn the matchup from rumor into reality, since high-level support often pushes big fights across the finish line quickly.
Canelo,
Turkey dropped.
You know, people are talking about it.
Turkey hinted at that. He was like Benavidez.
Yeah, he
Turkey,
did.
so
Turkey just posted that this morning, wondering if Benavidez can make 168. Maybe he has plans or ideas of maybe trying to match up Benavidez and Terence Crawford.
No, we ain't doing that fight.
Maybe planning on vacating the belts.
No, we ain't gonna vacate the belts. You know, we just gonna sit where we need to sit for a minute, and then, just like I said, get back in the gym and do our thing.
Honest,
absolutely. And he don't want them.
As talk of the matchup grew, Jose Benavidez Jr., father and trainer of David Benavidez, acknowledged the talent and accomplishments of Terence Crawford, but quickly issued a warning, arguing that David presents a completely different challenge than Canelo. He described his son's power as hardcore and suggested that facing him would be far tougher, positioning David as the division's biggest threat while defending and promoting his son's status.
And if the fight comes up, the opportunity comes up, I would love that fight.
So you're saying 160 versus Crawford, you do it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Even if it's right now like at 154, like let's say he says, you know what, I want you to jump up to 160.
Why not? I mean, I feel like I'm a big 154 as it is, you know? I mean, I was a big 140. I was a 140, a big 140, a big 147, a big 154. I think 160, I've always said I'd go, I don't know if David can make the weight anymore. I mean, it's one thing to want to go down, but are you still able to? So I don't know. Would it entice him? Maybe, but that doesn't mean that he can do it, you know? I mean, that's he's been at 168.
On the other side, Brian Bomac McIntyre, longtime trainer of Terence Crawford, pushed back against the hype surrounding a potential matchup with David Benavidez, stressing that the focus remains on steady progression and realistic opportunities rather than outside pressure. His stance made it clear that Crawford's camp intends to stay disciplined and not chase headlines just because fans or promoters want the fight.
Crawford at Benavidez.
He said he wondered if Benavidez can make 168.
We just talked to Bomac and he was like, "Nah, we don't want to do that."
I just think Benavidez, he's like what, 6'5", 6 something like that. He's a big dude, bro. Yeah. He's a big dude, man. So I just who knows? Now you got fight announcements now. They got, you know, Rey Mysterio fighting Andrew Tate and I don't know, just crazy stuff.
Amid the ongoing debate, Virgil Ortiz Jr. entered the conversation by directly calling out Terence Crawford, saying he's willing to face him, but only at 160 pounds. Ortiz made it clear he's ready to test himself against the pound-for-pound standout and positioned himself as a fighter willing to step in when others hesitate around negotiations.
Fighting Benavidez, that's just Turkey trying to pull rank. Turkey trying to show he got a golden arm. You know what I mean?
I understand that Turkey likes to make these big grand events, but there's a boxing aspect to this shit too. Like some stuff gotta make boxing sense. Yeah. Bringing the dude down that's been comfortable at 75, bringing him back down to 68, and then having him fight a dude that just jumped 3 weight classes in 2 fights that started his career off at 35.
Right.
Like, no, bro. No, man.
Yeah, I don't want to see that fight. There's no point. Like I said, Bud need to just go get it lined.
David Benavidez.
You gotta understand.
I gotta ask you, bro, because I can't, you know?
My thing is, Benavidez is a big dude. Not to say I won't fight him. I fought his brother. Brother was big when I fought him. The only reason why I entertain Canelo is because he's not a big dude. He might be thick, but he's not a big dude. Benavidez is like 6 foot something. Then he gonna come in 190, 200 probably. You know what I mean? Like, you never know. Like, that's a big dude.
And he's skilled.
I might as well go to hell.
Virgil Ortiz Jr. didn't stop at calling out Terence Crawford. He also questioned whether David Benavidez could realistically make 168 pounds, suggesting the weight cut would be too difficult at this point in his career. His comments not only echoed Crawford's earlier criticism, but also added outside skepticism to the debate, further casting doubt on whether the much-talked-about matchup would ever happen.